Kyiv is back in the crosshairs after Russia's military announced last week that the main focus of its so-called special operation is now focused on the east. A shift after Russian troops failed to encircle the capital Kyiv, pushed back by Ukrainian resistance.
We have hit day 32 of Russia's invasion of Ukraine.
The Russians released this new video of the missile strikes targeting fuel depots and defense infrastructure in the western city of Lviv and southwest of the capital city of Kyiv.
The city was meant to be a sanctuary for thousands, and now it feels like the war has come to them.
Ukrainian cities are consistently being bombed, though the country's military is putting up a hell of a fight against this man.
We will be aiming at demilitarization and denazification of Ukraine.
But Russia's claims about Nazis in Ukraine are a mix of falsehoods and distortions. For a start, Ukrainians are not being held hostage by Nazis. Their president's Volodymyr Zelensky. He's Jewish. He has relatives who died in the Holocaust. And he's president because he won 73% of the vote in 2019.
This is what the Russians call the liberation of Mariupol. Flats, no longer homes. Buses incinerated. Tombstones engraved by marker pen.
It is damp in the basement, cold. You're lying there hoping they won't bomb you. Look how many dead bodies we've buried around the building.
Don't forget, this is what Vladimir Putin does when he's focused. Sometimes all you can do is stop, sit, and try to fathom that a month ago, this was a bustling city of nearly 500,000.
For some, escape has been tough. Many will cling to sports and politics not mixing, right? That there must be this divide.
Well, I spent 1.5 weeks in the bombardment because we thought it was safe staying there while the explosions were not very close to our house. But the moment we knew that it wasn't, the moment we knew that the bombardment was in our town, we knew we had to leave and get me out, and then my parents would come back to get their parents out.
This is Mykhailo Golod, just 15 years old, speaking with CNN. He is, in short, one of the country's most promising athletes. A 4-time champion in Ukraine, Misha, per Golf Digest, was also the first Ukrainian ever to play in the USGA's U.S. Junior Amateur at the Country Club of North Carolina.
You had to leave a lot of your family behind. I know that's got to be just brutal for you.
It's very devastating, but thankfully they all have Wi-Fi and a source of internet, food, water, and I can still talk to them and make sure they're safe. And I know that once everything is over, I'll definitely bring them here to be here with me.
Now, do you believe that the rest of your family is going to be able to get out of Kyiv, out of Ukraine soon?
Yes, I do believe that my mother and my grandparents will be able to leave. And my dad will only be allowed to leave Ukraine once the martial law ends.
When he was back in Kyiv, he spoke with Golf Digest. We hear it seems like 50 explosions a day. You never know where they are, but they always sound close. The air sirens letting us know something is coming are always blaring. In January, he was competing in the United States. 2 weeks ago, he lapped a field in Turkey. He remembers he was supposed to be competing in an event this weekend. Now he is planning on sleeping in the basement, given the expected ramp up of fire from the sky. Golf.com also picked up on Misha's story. He has not been outside in a week. His parents, Father Oleg, a logistics manager, and his mother, Vita, who works in the medical industry, are homebound with him. Mostly, anyway. My dad is the risky one in our family because he gets groceries every 3 or 4 days, Misha said. On Thursday, Vita had to leave their shelter for a pressing work duty. Very risky, Misha said. He showed the outlet his setup in the family's basement. He was sure to grab all his plaques and trophies plus a putting green, likely what you've seen in many office buildings around the country or even in, let's say, Jerry Maguire. He slept right next to it. We had a lot of chances to evacuate, but we didn't think that was a wise decision to make because we really didn't have anywhere to go, he said. If we did evacuate, we would probably be stuck in another country for no one knows how long. Then he sent Golf.com's Alan Bestable a WhatsApp message. This morning we heard explosions super close to our house, he wrote. We are on our way to a safer location now. Via Golf Digest once more, you don't get used to the air horns or ensuing bombs, Mykhailo says, despite their frequency. Sometimes the silence is just as scary, waiting for when it will break. As for looking outside, Misha keeps it to a minimum. In addition to war, what struck a nerve was the following. My golf course, Kyiv Golf Club, my home club, the Russians have occupied it. They're inside the clubhouse and sort of making a camp for themselves. It's one of really only 2 good golf courses in the country. The other is in Kharkiv, and there, half of the city has been blown up. It's horrible. I have friends there. I message them 5 times a day asking if they're all right. I'm not even asking about the course because it doesn't seem to matter at this point, but it's tough to think about. That's because, as he puts it, golf is his first love. It is his meditation. It is his escape. Now, war aside, to see the enemy trample the one thing he loves so dearly is pretty devastating. If the courses are shelled, Misha can't even envision a scenario in which they'd be rebuilt quickly. Golf in Ukraine won't have anything for at least 10 years, he said. Should the opportunity avail itself, he will do everything in his power to try and return to the junior game's grandest stage. All that's required is one thing he can control, continuing his fine play, and another that he cannot, for Putin to stand down. We're just here praying for this to end anytime soon, Misha said, and for us to be able to live a normal life. As he logs off with Golf Digest, he has 2 messages for us. The first, I hope the world sees what is happening. We did not ask for this. Russia, they are attacking civilians, not just military. They're actually killing people. They're destroying homes. They're destroying government buildings. I hope the world hears and sees us and helps us out. The second, I want to play in the U.S. Junior Am coming in July. It's at Bandon Dunes. I've never been. I'm much better than I was last year. This year, I will be able to concentrate. This time, I will be ready. According to golfchannel.com, it was a 5,000-mile journey from Ukraine, getting into Hungary, flying out of Budapest, landing in London, and then arriving in the United States, specifically Orlando, Florida. Through the sport he loves, specifically a mix of 2 components. The first was through a visa he actually obtained when he was playing in a tournament in the United States previously. The second was this man, David Ledbetter, a golf lifer who is consistently named one of the best coaches in the entire sport. Ledbetter teamed up with the AJGA to help raise financial support for Misha and some other Ukrainian golfers. There are less than 4,000 golfers in Ukraine and few golf courses, including Golod's home course, which we discussed earlier, had been taken over by the Russian military. Specifically, CNN gave kudos to the president of the AJGA, Jim Nugent, for helping this process as well. And so I called Ledbetter and we talked about it, and he said, well, we've got to do something about this. And I said, what do you have in mind? He said, we'll get him out of Ukraine, we'll get him into my academy in Orlando, Florida, and I'll get him in school, and he'll begin a new life, Nugent explained, saying at first he thought the plan was a bit far-fetched. Having arrived in the U.S., Misha spent his first few days acclimating, organizing a phone, bank account, and other necessities for life in a foreign country. His mother, Vida, helped with getting her son settled in before traveling back to be with her husband a few days later. Ledbetter and his golf academy have provided accommodations for Golod, with the young golfer staying with his assistant as he continues to adapt to life in the United States. Recently, Misha took in the final round at TPC Sawgrass at the Players' Championship. There he met a bevy of players, including Harold Varner and his personal favorite, Rory McIlroy. Speaking from the United States, this was Misha talking to CNN about the current state of the war.
Something that's happening in Ukraine right now should not be happening in the middle of Europe in the 21st century. Kids are losing their homes, they're dying, they're losing their lives. and it's devastating, and people should know the truth, because there's a lot of fake news going around. But in reality, what's happening is the whole country is being destroyed. It's not demilitarization or denationalization. It's actually being destroyed right now by Putin, and it has to be stopped, because if he's not stopped, he will go on to Europe and then America. We don't know where he's gonna stop. So we need every source of help we can get from Western Europe or America, and to stop him.
He would tell golfchannel.com, I knew if I was able to leave the country, it would be an awesome opportunity for me to keep progressing. I really hope I can bring my family here after everything is finished in Ukraine. Here's to hoping the war ceases and peace reigns supreme.